Hello. Get my voice right. Hello. How y'all doing out there in the Nice to Meet You podcast world? It's your girl, Lynette. It's been a minute. It's been what, March? March is the last time I did recorded a podcast. It's been too long. How y'all doing out there? Um, Look behind me. I'm in my new house. Remember I told you the last time I did my podcast, I had bought a house, so I'm recording in my new place. And I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. I'm thankful. I'm grateful for all God has done in my life. I've been missing you all, but your girl's been busy. I hope you are doing amazing and out there being the amazing people I know you all to be. I already know you're doing the thing, making big moves, meeting new people, just being amazing. And me, like I said, I've been busy. Moved in my new place on April 30th. Still moving in while I'm still, teaching first grade, and it was a lot. At one point, I feel like I was a walking zombie. It got so bad where I'll be doing something on my phone and in mid-air, I'm falling asleep while I'm scrolling through my phone, and I would be watching TV and would call myself watching something, and I would be out for like 4 hours. Wake up, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what's going on? So, well, no, it's been a interesting past few months. Man, not only did I get a new house, I had to get a new car too. Crazy. Let me tell you a little short story about that. Going to church down in the city, like I know y'all know I live in St. Louis, and I hadn't been to service because of the pandemic. I had been watching online, so I forgot that they had made a change to like the turn lane, and so I'm driving. Well, I said I'm gonna cut this way because it was a long line of cars, and I said I'm gonna cut this way so I can get home faster because I was just exhausted. I probably should have stayed at home that day. But hindsight is 2020. So I was leaving. You know how you do, just always just going into the turn lane. And I'm like, I saw a truck coming, so I'm like trying to get to the turn lane and wait for the car to go past. Then I'm like, what is this noise? Like, what am I rolling over? Got out my car, and I was like, oh yeah, they did put this little, I don't know, it could be like 2 inches high thing in the turn lane. I don't know why. If you all know, down my MLK and what's that street, Clara, and it was not a pretty sight. Well, first of all, I got out of my car looking like, what was all that noise? I'm fine. I looked at my car, it looked fine. And then there was this lady across the street at another church. She's like trying to, flag me down. And she was like, she told me to get out of the car. And I got out the car and I looked, she's like, your car is leaking. And she's like, and the bottom is tore out, like hanging down. And I'm like, wow, yeah, it is. And so, excuse me, I need a little water there. My voice is sounding a little hoarse. But yeah, and I got out, I'm like, oh yeah, it is leaking. And she was like, how far do you have to go? And I was like, well, I'm going back out to North County. And she was like, well, you might want to take the streets. And I was like, yeah, it's probably a good idea that I take the streets because whatever's leaking is leaking pretty bad. And so I ended up taking the streets, and my nose is really glistening on this video. It's the moisturizer that I put on my face. Anyway, so yeah. And I was like, yeah, I got a ways to go, maybe about a 20-minute ride. So I took the streets, and when I got home, I think it leaked. Whatever amount of oil, every ounce of oil that I had in the car leaked out onto the parking lot. And I apologize to my old apartment complex. But yeah, and I'm like, oh God. I was like, I should have stayed home. I was exhausted. If I was maybe a little bit more alert, I don't know. I don't know. I think I just forgot the thing was there. I'm not used to anything being in any turn lane ever. I don't know why they put it there. I have no idea. But anyway, come to find out, I had my car towed to the place where they were going to fix it. And they were like, yeah, we're going to total this out. The transmission needs to be fixed. Hold on one second. The transmission needs to be fixed. This is damaged and it's going to be, I think they gave me like an estimate like over $7,000. And then the insurance company said that the people said that once they get inside the car, they said it could be even more. So they were like, yeah, we're going to just total this car on out. And so I'm like, yeah, I was kind of upset about that because I hadn't had a car note in 2 years. No car note in 2 years. And I'm like, man. But my car, when I looked it up on, Kelly Blue Book value, it was like an optimal condition, like excellent condition. It was around $9,000. I had a 2013 Hyundai Sonata. But yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. But then they ended up giving me like $11,000 something for my car. And when I was in Walmart shopping when they told me this, and I'm like, wait, you giving me what? Now you know your girl. I never said that. Why you giving me more than my car costs? Hey, no, if they're gonna give me more money, I'm gonna take more money. So I'm like $11,000 something. I'm like, oh man, shoot, I can get a nice car with that. Then I tell myself, I'm the is it frugal, the word I'm going to use? Person that I am, cheap person that I am, or the extra cautious, conservative person that I am. Like, I'm going to give me a car around $17,000, so I have like a really low note, maybe $18,000. That's what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm going, my dream car, as I told you, I want a Jeep Wrangler, just some weird lime green, pink color. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to get that because I don't want a high note because I know how much those Jeep Wranglers cost. So I ended up getting, I'm like, I'm going to find me a car. I looked up on different sites and Enterprise rent a car because, I had to rent a car because my car was down. And so the people that rented me the car sent my name over to sales, and some guy started randomly texting me or calling me, and I had an appointment set up and everything for Enterprise rent a car. Went there. The guy wasn't even there. Said he was at the dentist's office. Somebody set me in an office and they just didn't even help me for like 40 minutes. And I just walked out of the place. Before I walked out, a guy tried to stop me. He was like, they messing up today. They need somebody to, they're not helping you. And so he tried to find somebody else to help me. And that person was like, I haven't had lunch all day, so can you give me a second? I'm just like, I'm done with this place. I went like kick rocks. I'm like, I don't need this. I got good credit. I got a nice down payment. I don't need this. Maybe kind of think of Rochelle and Everybody Hates Chris. I don't need this job. My husband got 2 jobs. Like, it made me think of that. But anyway, so I left there, and then I went to another thing, Marty Consilla, and then I were talking like some crazy prices. And then I was about to head to Johnny Londoff, and then I was like, Clement was right on Lindbergh and New Florissant. Lindbergh and New Florissant. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull on over to this. Because that commercial say, everywhere you go, you got to get it at ClementAutogroup.com. And I was like, yeah, excuse my singing. But anyway, so I ended up going to them, and they showed me Nissan Altima. And I was thinking I wanted an SUV. And so I was like, okay. So I got in and I liked it. I liked the body of the car. It made me feel like I was in a sports car. Because like I said, I'm a conservative person. I used to get by conservative things. But that Nissan is not the Nissan I ended up getting. It was a silver Nissan. I think it was 2020. But then I ended up driving a white Nissan 2019. So I love it. I'm back with a car note, but I got a nice interest rate. Fairly decent car note. And your girl, you know me, I'm going to pay it off early. As much I'm paying a little bit more each time so I can pay it off early. But all glory to God, he worked things out for me. I was upset about damaging my car, totaling out my car. Because like I said, I hadn't had a car note in 2 years. So I was upset about that. but he worked it out for me. I got the car. I got a beautiful car. I got my windows tinted. I don't ever do anything like that. I love the tint. I just like the smooth drive of the car. I just love it, and I love my new house, like you said, that I'm in. I'm blessed by God, highly favored by God. He has been working amazing things out of my life. Just when I want to get upset and get frustrated about some mishap or some incident that happens, God works it out in my favor. It's just been amazing. It's just, I don't know. It's just been a lot of things going on, a lot of moving and shaking going on in my life. And then the last, this is just like a reflection episode, just sharing my thoughts and what's going on with me, because I haven't talked to you all in a while. And I just started rambling when I got on here, but the Nice to Meet You podcast is all about inspiring each of us or to become the best version of ourselves. This podcast was started on June 18th of 2020. I did it during the pandemic, just so an outlet for me to speak my mind and to inspire others. And this is like just a reflection episode. The last of the school year, or the end of the school year, was on May 26th. So this past Thursday, I'm recording this on a Sunday, May 29th, around 11:41 Central Time. So it was the last day of school, and man, these kids, they went out with a bang. A big bang. But towards the end, I'm like, my clapping, my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, be quiet, look at me, listen, all the little chants and stuff like that. Yeah, that wasn't working no more. These kids were like, it's the end of the school year. They were like, man, but I enjoyed it. We had went on a field trip to the botanical garden, the children's garden. They had a great time hanging on stuff, sliding down slides, and just having a good time, taking their shoes off, sand in their toes, and we had field day where they were able to do the bouncy house, play a lot of games, and the mummy rap and bubbles and relay races. And the fire department came, and they got to put on fire gear and all that kind of stuff. We got ice cream, and we had fun in the classroom. The last day, I just let them play games and stuff like that. And I was hoping a few of them stay home, especially the ones that give me trouble. But what's crazy, on the last day, reflecting over the year, and the couple students, when I, dismissed the kids, the ones that are pickups and the ones that are bus riders, 5 or 10 minutes later, of all the students that came back, it was the two of the ones that gave me so much trouble throughout the school year that came back in the hallway. They saw me standing there and they said, Miss Farmer, I'm gonna miss you. I love you, and gave me the biggest hug. And not that it meant more to me than other kids, but some of the kids that I had built relationships with where I didn't have to correct them or redirect them all year. Some of those kids, I'm like, you're not going to say bye to Miss Farmer. They just kind of like hugged me, or they wanted to sit by me during the last day while I was working. They were playing games. They just wanted to be in my presence. And that's a blessing for students to love and to be around you. Because I feel like kids are honest, and they will let you know what the condition of your heart is. They kind of know a person with a good heart. And so those kids were like kind of out the door, and I knew they would miss me and stuff like that. But the kids that gave me trouble, I did not expect these two students to come back and give me a hug. And it just touched my heart, just for them to do that. And at the end of the day, when I was walking the kids out to the bus, my principal wanted us to stand and to wave at the kids as the bus pulled off. And one other teacher was like, she had to go. But she saw the principal. She was like, we better stay. We better stay. And so, because we can't dip out of here. But it was so sentimental, y'all. It was crazy how it touched my heart. And it was kind of sad. And she kind of looked at me, and she's like, it kind of makes you sad. Like, she kind of touched her heart. And I was like, yeah, it does. I was like, I was on the verge of like almost crying when the buses were pulling off. And I didn't think, that I would have that experience. And before, if I backtrack, there was a student that we kind of had words, and it was not a good experience that was in my bus line. And he came to school. He had been promoted from the 5th grade to the 6th, and he didn't even have to come. But I was like, you must really love school if you're at school today. And he was like, I just wanted to come. And his voice even sounded like younger. He wasn't like the aggressive type. He was smiling with his little rosy cheeks. And I gave him a hug. And even his brother, we kind of fell off because of the incident that we had, where he was talking back and stuff like that. He even came like purposely down and gave me a hug before he left. And then one fifth grader, because fifth graders try to act tough and rough and stuff and all year round and give you back talk and just have all type of emotions and attitudes. And there was one girl named what is her name? Michelle, first name. She was like crying. I just looked up and she was just in tears, and I'm like, "Why are you crying?" And she was like, "It's not." She's like she couldn't explain it, but she was like, "It's not tears of sadness. It's tears of being happy." And then I said, "Oh, you're gonna miss the school?" And I was like, "Are you coming to summer school?" And she was like, "Yeah. If I didn't, I would cry every day." And I was like, "Man, we never know what these children are going through, and they don't mean so." Take this. It's hard because we're human. So I'm talking about teachers. We have students that give us so much trouble, and sometimes we can take it, or I'll say for me, it's like, man, did this child just wake up to get on my nerves? Did this child just put in my classroom to get on my nerves? And what I realize is that they're going through a lot in their lives, and they don't know how to process it, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so they come there and they're acting out because they're trying to process what's going on with them. Like the girl Michelle, she has expressed to me that her mother didn't even want to come to her fifth grade promotion, and she was having a rough day that day. One teacher was telling her to go to the office, and she was talking back and walking and doing her own thing. And I was like, well, she gets in trouble sometimes, but I had never seen her act like that. Kind of found out later on, she told me about what her mother said about her fifth grade promotion, and I wanted to be there, and she had to deal with that. And them trying to deal with that, like they give us a hard time, talk back and do all these behaviors. Like the student upset, he would make noises in the class, he would lay back on the floor, he would talk back. I would tell him to do something, he would kind of look at me and hesitate to do it. And I was just like, man, if this little boy would just stay at home for the rest of the school year. But he told me this a couple of times, I'm gonna miss you, Miss Farmer. And he would come to me and I was like, what does he want? I would think that, but I'm like, I made some type of impact in his life, and that's touching within itself. And I realized that he wasn't there to get on my nerves. He just didn't, maybe how he was raised, or maybe, I don't know, whatever's going on in his life or in his house. And that students and sometimes children, when they give us a rough time, they're not doing it intentionally. They just don't know how to process the struggles of life that they have to go through. And it takes a special person, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a minute, to be a teacher. Let me just put that out there, because out of all the stuff we go through, how they talk back to us, how they rolling around the classroom, yelling out, and sometimes kids will get to the point where they'll throw stuff and have all these type of behaviors. And us as teachers, we vent to one another and was like, we're counting down the days until the last day. But what's crazy is we still want to come back and do it again. And we have this summer break, and I'm going to enjoy my summer break. And I'll be working with our social studies curriculum team from June 6th to June 30th. But other than that, I'm just going to relax and just recuperate, because school starts right back up in August. And you know the way time is flying, they'll be here before you know it. But what's crazy, that God, like somebody, a lady at the beauty shop that I goes to, she said that that's a special place in heaven for teachers because of the stuff we have to go through. And I honestly believe that, because we do this. We go through all this stuff. It was rough with the pandemic. Some of these kids are still behind, a couple years behind as far as reading and math goes. And they give us their behaviors socially, emotionally. They don't have the skills that they need to process, to problem solve and resolve conflict. And social media, like sometimes they have younger parents, and the parents just want to be TikTok famous and Facebook famous, social media famous, and or sometimes the parents are really young and they're trying to figure out parenthood. So we're having to raise kids on top of teach them. And it's a special play, because me speaking for myself, Lynette, still want to do it again. I mean, it's out of all the stuff, sometimes I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, when is this day over? It's like I still think about the children. And sometimes I look through their pictures, I'm like, man, I'm going to miss them. And I used to go through the stores, and I'd be thinking about stuff I can buy for them, little things. And sometimes they wouldn't seem as grateful as I would want them to be. But I made an impact. Like I said, those two students that came back, and was like, they're going to miss me. It showed me that, I'm walking in my calling, and reflecting over the year and how it went, and how, God's placed me on this earth to instill some type of, teach these children just the way of life, not just teach them reading, writing, math, and things like that, but how to be better people and how to be responsible people and trustworthy people. And that's an amazing task to have. And for God to entrust me to do that, that's amazing for him to even do that, because those are his children and he's trusting me to instill values in them and to be a good role model for them. That's the tall task, and he deemed me worthy to be able to do that, and I don't take that lightly. And I believe no teacher out there takes that lightly, that we've been called to do that. We've been called to get the young people, the younger generation, to where they need to be, so this world can continue to get better, because the world is crazy right now. Prices are crazy, gas is crazy. Everything time you go to the store, you're spending crazy amount of money that you never paid before. Every time I roll past the gas station, I'm like rolling my eyes, because I heard we can get as high as $6. I think we're like $4.48 in St. Louis, $4.48 a gallon right now. It's some crazy times. Baby formula, people are struggling to find baby formula for their kids. Then all these mass shootings and mental health. It's a lot. Turn on the news every day. You have to sometimes turn the news off, because it's so much negativity, so much turmoil, so much loss of life, so much pain, so much anguish going on, that if you're not turning it to God today, I just don't know. And I'm not trying to preach or steer you in whatever type of direction, but we need something higher than us today to hold on to, because you never know. I mean, sometimes I drive by, I see an accident, a car turned over on its side. I was driving one day, I seen this. I had never seen this before, where there was a car. So there's 2 lanes and there's a dotted line down the highway. But this car tried to fit between the dotted lines, between 2 cars, just trying to rush to get to wherever they were trying to go. And it's just, like my mom says, you have to be thankful just to make it back home every day. The day when you leave the house and you make it back every day in your right mind, you're healthy, nothing is broken, nothing is hurt, your family members make it back home, you ought to be thankful. I'm thankful. I'm grateful, because it's so much uncertain. Like I said, the people that got killed in the Buffalo, New York grocery store, the 10 people that lost their lives, and because some guy just decided, I don't like you because you're black. The elementary, now I'm an elementary teacher. Somebody is able to shoot and kill little second graders and little elementary kids, where one girl screamed out help, and when he heard her, he killed. It's hurtful. It's a lot of hurt in the world. And so just try to go more towards positivity. Find something to be positive about. Let's not be petty and hold grudges and not get along, because you never know what the next person is going through. You be that light. You be that shining light that somebody needs to see, because we just trying to make it home. We just trying to have food on our table. We just trying to be a good person. And some people out there, you don't know what can set them off. That's why I said I don't blow at people. I don't try not to look at people the wrong way, because you never know what's going on. People are on the edge. People have lost it. And God is, I encourage you to who I believe in. I feel like God is out there. God will never put more on us than we can bear. We need to draw even closer to him in these uncertain times where things are crazy. Like I said, you never know what you're going to hear next. You never know. Sometimes I just feel like we're at the point now that a lot of things won't even shock us anymore. And I don't want us to become numb to sometimes just listening to all this killing, all this murder. Sometimes we can become numb to it, but let's never become numb to little children, innocent people losing their lives just because you can't control what color you are. And this guy, I don't know, whenever they found out, well, he shot his grandmother in the face and stole her car and did all this stuff, and what was going on with him, that he's 18. Like I said, he's not even old enough to drink, but he's old enough to buy a rifle, and nobody saw the signs. And then his mother is talking about forgive him, and yes, we have to find forgiveness, but it's hard. It's sometimes things people do to you, you have to dig down deep, because I'm sure the people that lost where their child lost their life, they had to dig down deep to find. And I'm not even know, years down the line, they'll be ready to forgive this man for what he did for taking their child away from them. It's just, I don't even know. But turn to God, because God he knows the end result. He will be there. Like, times are going to be tough, but God is a higher power and will give us the the patience, will give us the like he said, he will be the calm in the midst of a storm. And sometimes you're going through stuff and you don't know, why am I calm? Because God gives you a sense of peace, because my favorite scripture says, for I know the thoughts I think towards you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Like, times may seem crazy, times may seem tough, but God will bring us to our expected end. Going through the things in this world, my bad, my watch went off. Going through this world without a God, without a higher power to see you through, that's scary. It's scary going through it with a higher power, with God that you can trust in faith and believe that he'll never put more on you than you can bear. That sometimes when you have questions, I have questions like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And God can give you a peace and just speak a soft word of encouragement, or a song will come on, or some type of gospel song, or some type of something that somebody will say something to encourage you. So you have to connect your spirit to a higher power today to go through these tough times. It's rough, but in spite of it being rough, like I said, I'm blessed. God's blessed me to buy a house, my first house. God has blessed me. Like I said, I was upset about the car. I'm like, man, I didn't have a car note, but he worked things out for me to get a car, and a car note I can afford. And like I said, I'm just reflecting over, wow, an amazing first year, and I'm looking forward to next year and things that I can change and how I could be a better teacher. And I just like all the positive things people said to me, like they say I'm a shining light, and how the kids could not love me, and how people just gravitate to me, and how God has blessed me to be a light where people want to be around me, people want to listen to me, people want to be in my presence. That's a blessing. The people that God has blessed me to have that type of spirit, because sometimes you don't want to be negative where people see you coming and people want to go the other way. It's so much negativity in the world. So I want to be the light. I want to be a person that you can do it. Anything you set your mind to, you can do it. And like I said, I went back to school later in life and didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't have direction, didn't know, but I found out later in life where God pointed me to be a teacher. And just trust him. Just trust and believe him that he'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. Just call on him when you need him. He's amazing. He's amazing. And just sitting here thinking like, man, I don't know. Like I said, some things I want. You all know I talk every time about a family, and just wonder, when will it be my time? And I was just walking on my treadmill this morning, and I was just listening to someone talking. He was just saying how God is in the background working things out. Like, trust him. Like, I don't have these things, but it's coming. And God is putting everything in motion when it doesn't look like anything is happening. God is always working. And I could go on and on and on, because I haven't talked to you all in a while, and I miss you all. And because I have a little downtime now, I'm trying to get back on more often and share my thoughts of just inspiration, and just how you could be so tough, you could feel abandoned in life, you could feel like nobody's out here for me. You might have had it rough. Your parents might not have done the things or raised you the way you feel like you should have been raised, but God was there. He's still there, and he will bring you to your expected end. Again, this is just, I don't even know what I want to call this, a moment of reflection. I don't know, maybe a moment of reflection, but like I said, I just wanted to get on and share my heart with you. I love you all. Just hit me up. I hope you've been catching some previous episodes and been enjoying that. Yeah, it's the summertime. Get out and enjoy yourself. Just try to find some downtime to reflect, because it's going to get back busy again in the fall, and we need time to recuperate. We're not robots. And when people tell you should just go and not have any rest, no, because God made the world in 6 days, and on 7th day he rested. He's God. He's always been, he always will be. He's all knowing, but he had to rest. So we need to rest as well. So use this summertime to reflect over the year so far, and reflect over or think about the next move you want to make. But most of all, just rest and recuperate. Get out, hopefully talking to myself, get out, enjoy some type of vacation, go somewhere, have some fun, and continue to put God first. And like I said, this is your girl, Lynette. This is the Nice to Meet You podcast. I miss you all again. This podcast was inspired by just me want to share my thoughts, also by my Alicia Keys book, the Alicia Keys book that I read more myself, that teaches us to be more in tune with who we are. It's not selfish to have self-care and to think about yourself and to put yourself first sometimes, because you have to be your best self to show up for others, and especially in the profession that I'm in. I have to be right mentally and emotionally to go out there for my students. So again, I cannot leave you all without quoting my favorite scripture found in Jeremiah 29:11. And it goes a little something like this. For I know the thoughts I think toward you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to bring you to an expected end. God's going to bring us to our expected end. So every day, wake up and say your words of affirmation. I matter. I am enough. I am the head. I am not the tail. I am above. I am not beneath. I am the lender. I am not the borrower. I am God's best child. In the words of my guy, DMX. And until next time, nice to meet you. Let's go.